The silver forks hit the expensive plates with a loud clinking sound. The room was very quiet and felt very uncomfortable. This was the big family dinner at my father's house. I hated coming to this dinner every single year. The dining room smelled like my stepmother Beatrice's favorite flowers. She also ordered very expensive roast beef. She did this just to show everyone that she had a lot of money. Beatrice sat at the head of the table like a queen on a throne. She adjusted her shiny diamond necklace. She looked at me with a thin, fake smile. I felt a lot of stress in my shoulders as I sat there. My long braids were pulled back in a neat and professional bun. I am a black woman who works in the big business world. Because of this, I have learned to keep a very calm face. I have worked very hard for 5 years. I have been moving up the ladder at my job. But to Beatrice, I am still just a failure. She took a slow sip of her wine. She was getting ready to say mean things. My father sat at the other end of the table. He looked down at his plate. He was trying to avoid looking at me. I held on to my leather folder. I had a big secret. Beatrice always chose the most public times to be mean. So, Maya, she started. Her voice sounded like honey mixed with bitter vinegar. I heard from a friend that you are still working in that small, dusty office. It has been 3 years now, hasn't it? Most people your age have moved into a management job by now. At least they found a job with a title that sounds important. She sighed very loudly. She shook her head as if my life were a sad movie. It really breaks my heart to see you wasting your life. You are in such a dead-end job. You were always such a quiet child. I hoped you would grow some backbone and ambition like Caleb did. It is a shame. Opportunities for people like you do not come around often. You have to be fast to grab them. The other guests at the table looked at me. Most of them were Beatrice's rich friends. They looked at me with pity. They seemed bored. I did not say a word to defend myself. I just took a small bite of my potatoes. I chewed very slowly. I stayed calm and did not let her see that I was upset. I had a plan. I knew that if I spoke now, I would ruin the big surprise. I had spent many months preparing this secret. Beatrice loved to feel better than me because of her money. She used my life to make herself feel important. She had no idea about my real life. She thought my office was small and unimportant. But it was actually the main office of a very big tech company. I had just been promoted to a very high level. Beatrice came into our lives 10 years ago. This was right after my mother passed away. At first she was sweet, but as soon as she married my father, her true self came out. She saw me as a threat to her own son, Caleb. Caleb is only 1 year older than me. Beatrice wanted Caleb to be the star. She wanted him to be the only success in the Banks family. To make that happen, she tried to make me look like a failure. Every time I got a good grade in school, she said it was not a big deal. When I got my first job, she told everyone I was just a clerk. She wanted me to feel small so Caleb could look big. I learned that the best way to deal with Beatrice was to be quiet. I told her almost nothing about my life or my job. I let her believe her own lies and stories. I let her think I was struggling to pay my rent every month. I let her think I was barely making enough money to live. This made her feel powerful. It kept her happy and away from my real business. But tonight, her mean attitude was getting worse. She was enjoying herself too much. She was having fun being mean to me in front of everyone. She was about to find out how wrong she was. She had no idea who she was talking to. Caleb sat across from me. He wore a suit that cost more than my first car. He leaned back in his chair and looked very smug. He watched his mother be mean to me. Caleb worked for a real estate firm. His mother had begged her friends to give him that job. Beatrice told everyone he was a top boss, but I knew the truth. I knew he spent most of his days playing video games. He even charged his lunch to the company. He was not a hard worker at all. Don't be so hard on her, Mom, Caleb said with a mean wink. Some people just aren't built for the fast lane. Maya is good at following orders. She likes to stay in the background. She is probably the best assistant they have ever had. Not everyone can be a leader like we are. He laughed very loudly. Beatrice joined in. It was a sharp sound that made my head hurt. My father finally looked up. His face looked very uncomfortable. Beatrice, Caleb, please, let us just enjoy the food. Maya is doing fine, he said in a quiet voice. But Beatrice was not done yet. She loved having people watch her. Tonight, she had invited a very important guest. This guest made her want to show off even more. She wanted to show that she was the boss of my career. The guest was Mr. Sterling. He was a famous investor. He was on the board of many huge companies. Beatrice had been trying to impress him for a long time. She hoped he would give Caleb a high job at one of his companies. Mr. Sterling was a quiet man with sharp eyes. He had been listening to everything Beatrice said. He did not say much. Beatrice looked at me again. Her eyes were shining with a mean look. You know, Mr. Sterling, we tried so hard to help Maya. We offered to pay for a career coach for her. But she is just so stubborn. She wants to stay in her little bubble. It is hard when you have a child who refuses to succeed. We gave her every advantage. I felt my neck getting hot. I kept my face calm. I kept my hands very steady. This was the failure label she loved to use. She wanted everyone to think I was lazy and had no big goals. I looked at Mr. Sterling across the table. For a second, our eyes met. He did not look at me with pity. He looked at me with a lot of curiosity. My phone buzzed in my pocket. It was a short and sharp vibration. It made my heart jump. It was the signal I had been waiting for. It was a message from my legal team and the board of directors. I knew exactly what that buzz meant. It was the final email from the board of directors at Apex Innovations. That was my company. I had been waiting for this exact moment for a long time. For the past 6 months, I had been doing secret interviews. I was being tested for a huge new job. The job was Senior Vice President of Global Operations. It was one of the most powerful jobs in the whole business world. The news was not supposed to be public until Monday morning, but the chairman of the company made me a promise. He said he would send the official announcement tonight. He knew I was at this family dinner. He wanted to say congratulations to me. I reached into my pocket. I felt the smooth glass of my phone. I did not pull it out yet. I wanted to wait for the best time to show it. I wanted the reveal to be very big. Beatrice was talking to Mr. Sterling again. She was telling him how Caleb had masterminded a big deal. I knew that was a lie. I knew his manager had done all the work. Caleb just took the credit. Beatrice was talking very fast and loud. She was so proud of her son. She was so sure that she was better than me. She did not notice that I was very quiet. I was the quiet storm. She was dancing in the middle of it. The problem with young people today, Beatrice said. She moved her wine glass toward me. Is that they want the reward without doing the work. Maya thinks that just showing up is enough. She has no vision. She has no drive to be great. I told her father years ago that she would be stuck. She looked at Mr. Sterling. She wanted him to agree with her. He took a slow bite of his food. Vision is a very rare thing, Mrs. Banks, he said in a calm voice. Beatrice smiled big. She thought he was talking about Caleb. She thought he was being mean to me. I felt a big rush of energy. Every mean thing she said was making me stronger. I was ready to knock her ego down. She had mocked me for the last time. She did not know my secret. She did not know that I saved my company $40 million last year. I did this by making the business run better. She did not know that I wrote the big papers she saw on the news. She thought I was just a girl in a small office. She was about to find out that I was a leader who was winning. I looked at my father. He looked very tired. He was always a good man. But Beatrice had been very difficult over the years. He had stopped fighting for me a long time ago. He just wanted a quiet life. He did not like when Beatrice started fights. I did not blame him. But I did feel sad for him. He deserved to know the truth. He deserved to know that his daughter was a success. He thought I was barely getting by. He did not know I was a powerhouse in the business world. Beatrice started talking about a new job. The job was at a company called Zenith Tech. It is a very high job, she told Mr. Sterling. I think Caleb would be perfect for it. He has that special factor. He just needs a chance to show he is one of the elite. I almost choked on my water when she said that. Zenith Tech was a smaller part of Apex Innovations. That was my company. As the new senior vice president, I was the boss of that company too. I would be the one to choose who got that job. The irony was so big. I had to stay calm. Beatrice was begging for a job for her son. She was asking me for the job and she did not even know it. She was talking to the one person who could say no to Caleb. I had the power to stop him with one pen stroke. I am sure Caleb is an interesting person, Mr. Sterling said. He looked back at me again. What about you, Maya? Have you ever heard of Zenith? They do very good work with computers and logic. Beatrice made a loud sound before I could speak. Oh, Maya would not know about that world. She is more into the easy side of things. She files papers. She answers the phones. That is all she does. Let us not bore her with talk of tech. She wouldn't understand global strategy. I felt the secret burning in my chest. I decided it was time to play a game. Actually, I have heard of them, I said in a soft voice. The table went very quiet. Beatrice looked at me like I was crazy. I read their report last week. Their new plan for AI is very bold. But I think their leaders are having a hard time. They need to change things fast. Caleb laughed very loudly. It was a mean sound. Oh, listen to her. She read a report. I am sure your boss let you shred it when he was done. Stick to what you know, Maya. Don't try to sound smart. You are embarrassing us in front of Mr. Sterling. His mean words were the last thing I needed. I was ready to end this dinner. Beatrice looked at me with cold eyes. Maya, please, do not make a fool of yourself. Mr. Sterling is a busy man. He does not have time for your opinions. You only read a short summary. Why don't you go to the kitchen? See if the staff needs help with the cake. That is more your skill level. This was it. This was the moment she had been building for 10 years. She tried to treat me like a servant in front of her important friend. I did not move. I did not go to the kitchen. I slowly reached for the leather folder. It was sitting on the chair next to me. I put it on the table with a loud thud. The glasses on the table rattled. I looked Beatrice right in her eyes. I did not look away. I stared at Beatrice for the first time in 10 years. I did not back down. The silence in the room became very heavy. It was uncomfortable for everyone else. My father looked at the folder. He looked at me with a confused face. Beatrice looked very annoyed. She did not like that I was ignoring her order. What is that, Maya? I told you, no work at the table. You are being a failure at manners. You have no etiquette. She was so busy being proper that she missed what was happening. She had no idea that the folder would destroy her plan. She had no idea that the papers inside would change everything. Actually, Beatrice, I said. My voice was very steady and clear. I think Mr. Sterling would like to see this. It is a message from the chairman. It is from Apex Innovations. The name of the company hit the room like a bomb. Even Beatrice knew that name. They were the biggest tech company. Everyone wanted to work there. Very few people even got an interview. Mr. Sterling leaned forward. He was very interested now. Beatrice's smug face began to go away. She started to look nervous. Apex Innovations? That is a very famous company. Why would the chairman send you papers, Maya? Mr. Sterling asked. Beatrice laughed. It was a nervous sound. Oh, she probably just joined a mailing list. She is playing a trick. Maya, stop this. You are making a fool of yourself. We have guests. I ignored her. I opened the folder. I pulled out the official contract. It had the company's gold seal on it. I slid it across the table. I gave it to Mr. Sterling. I have been working as a secret leader for them. I have done this for 2 years. Tonight was the big vote. The board chose my new job. At the top of the paper, it was written in big letters. It said, Appointment of Maya Banks AS Senior Vice President. The air in the room seemed to go away. Everyone stopped breathing for a second. Mr. Sterling picked up the paper. He read the lines very carefully. The room was so quiet you could hear the fridge. Caleb's face was frozen. He looked terrified. He could not believe what he was seeing. Beatrice was very pale. She looked like she had seen a ghost. Her hands were shaking. This is real, Mr. Sterling whispered. His voice was full of respect. I know this signature. This is from Arthur Vance. Maya, you are the new SVP. He looked at me with a new face. He looked at me like a boss. I heard they were hiring a young genius. They wanted someone to fix the company. I never thought it was you. People have been talking about your work for months. You are famous in the boardrooms. I smiled a real smile. I like to work in the dark, Mr. Sterling. It lets you see things better. Most people are too focused on the spotlight. They don't see the real work. Beatrice looked like she was going to faint. Her failure of a stepdaughter was now a powerful boss. I was one of the most important people in the city. I was very wealthy now too. The dynamic of the bank's family changed in 1 second. Beatrice was silent. She could not say anything mean now. I sat back in my chair. I felt the power shift to me. I was no longer the underdog. I was the one in charge. The dinner was finally going my way. The feeling in the room changed fast. It was like a heavy weight was lifted off me. That weight dropped right onto Beatrice. She tried to talk, but no words came out. She looked at her diamond necklace. Suddenly, it looked small and cheap. It was not as important as my new job. Caleb was staring at his plate. His face was very red. He was angry and embarrassed. He knew what this meant for him. He had been mean to me for years. Now, I was his boss's boss's boss. He was in big trouble. Maya, why didn't you tell us? My father asked. His voice was shaking. He was proud of me, but he also felt very bad. He knew he had not protected me from Beatrice. I wanted it to be official first, Dad, I said. I looked at him with kindness, and I wanted to see if Beatrice was right. She spent 10 years calling me a failure. I wanted to see if she really believed it. I wanted to see if she just wanted to feel better than me. Beatrice finally found her voice. It was weak. I was just trying to motivate you, Maya. No, Beatrice, I said. My voice was like a sharp knife. It cut through her lies. You did not want the best for me. You wanted to bury me. You wanted Caleb to look like the star. You were mean at every holiday. You were mean at every dinner. You tried to tear me down for 10 years. Tonight, you called me a failure in front of your friends. You told Mr. Sterling I was lazy. I stood up. I felt very tall. But while you talked about my dead-end job, I was busy. I was running a company. It is 10 times bigger than anything Caleb has done. I am the one who gives money to Zenith Tech. That is the company where you want a job for Caleb. Beatrice's face turned gray. She realized she had been mean to the person who held Caleb's future. She was terrified. Her rich friends were whispering. They looked at Beatrice with a lot of mean looks. They did not respect her anymore. Her power was gone. It happened in 1 second of truth. She had built her life on a lie. The tide had come in to wash it away. I was the tide. Mr. Sterling stood up. He offered me his hand. Congratulations, Maya. This is a huge win. Not many people can do this. You are so young and successful. I want to see you more in the future. Let us have lunch next week. We can talk about Apex. I shook his hand. I felt very strong. I would like that, Mr. Sterling. He turned to Beatrice. His face was cold. Mrs. Banks, thank you for the food. But I have seen enough tonight. It is interesting to see how people treat others. You treat people you think are below you very badly. It shows your real character. I do not like what I see. He walked out of the room. He left a heavy silence behind him. Beatrice sat there. Her world was falling apart. Her plan to help Caleb had failed. It failed in the worst way possible. She lost her friend. She lost her dignity. She lost her power over me. I looked at Caleb. He would not look at me. I can look at your resume, Caleb, I said. But we do not like laziness at Apex. We only want people who work hard. We value results, not who you know, I said. My voice was loud in the quiet room. The rest of the night was a blur. Beatrice tried to apologize many times. I refused to listen to her. I knew she was not sorry. She was only scared. My father pulled me aside. He gave me a very big hug. I am so sorry, Maya. I should have helped you. I should have stood up to her. I am so proud of the woman you are. I said thank you. I accepted his apology. But I knew things were changed forever. I had outgrown this house. I did not want to play Beatrice's petty games anymore. I was a leader now. I walked to my car. I felt very free. It was better than any money or job. I had faced the person who was mean to me. I won because I was a better person. I did not have to be loud or mean. I just had to be successful. I drove away from the house. I left Beatrice to deal with her own mess. My phone buzzed again. It was a message from the chairman. He said, "Welcome to the team. Monday, we changed the world." The next Monday, I walked into the main office. The glass walls were very high. The air felt professional and busy. I walked to the elevators. The security guards and the people at the desk stood up straight. They all knew the news. Word had traveled fast over the weekend. I was not a secret anymore. I was the boss. I took the private elevator to the top floor. I watched the city get small below me. The doors opened. My new assistant was waiting. She had a tablet and a big smile. "Good morning, Vice President Banks. The chairman is waiting for you." I nodded. I felt very confident. I spent the morning looking at files. I met my new team. They were very smart. They worked very hard. They respected me. There were no mean jokes here. No one tried to backstab me. No one judged me for being a black woman. It was a world where only your work mattered. I felt like I finally belonged. During my lunch break, I got a text from my father. He told me Beatrice was crying. She was blaming everyone else for her problems. She was very scared. I did not text him back right away. I did not want revenge. If I were mean like Beatrice, I would have Caleb fired. I could make sure he never worked in this city again. But I am not that kind of person. I want to be a good leader. I want people to trust me. I did send an email to Zenith Tech, though. I told them to treat Caleb's application like everyone else's. He would not get special treatment. He would not get favors. He would have to work for it. If he was good enough, he would get the job. If not, he would be rejected. I knew Beatrice would hate this. She thought the world was about tricks and who you knew. She did not understand working hard for something. Later that day, I had a meeting with the chairman. Arthur Vance was a legend, but he treated me like an equal. "You have a lot of work to do, Maya," he said. He looked at my new plans. "But I saw how you handled the secret projects. I know you are the right person. You have the backbone we need. You are going to do great things for us." The weeks and months went by. Things at home stayed different. I did not visit often, but when I did, it was not the same. Beatrice did not sit at the head of the table like a queen. She was quiet now. She was almost shy around me. She stopped talking about my clothes. She stopped talking about my hair. She never mentioned my job again. In fact, she tried to be my friend. She asked for my advice on stocks. She asked about business trends. It was a bit sad to watch. She was a social climber. She realized she had been mean to the most powerful person she knew. Caleb was different too. He started to work much harder. He did not get the job at Zenith. The rejection was a wake-up call for him. He realized his mother could not save him anymore. He had to live in the real world. One night he called me. He asked for help with a deal he was doing. I gave him some good tips. For the first time, we talked like normal people. It was not a friendship yet, but it was a start. We were talking like adults should. The biggest change was in my father. Beatrice did not seem so powerful anymore. Because of that, my father found his voice again. He started to stand up to her. When she tried to trick him or spend his money, he said no. He even started coming to my office for lunch. He would sit in the lobby and look at my name. He had a big smile on his face. He told me that my success gave him courage. He started working on a book. He had wanted to write it for a long time. Beatrice told him it was a waste of time, but he ignored her. I realized that my success helped everyone. I did not accept being a failure. Because of that, everyone else had to change. Beatrice's mean attitude was just a mask. Without it, she had no power. She was just a woman who wanted to feel big by making others feel small. Her time of being the boss of the family was over. My father was happy. Caleb was learning. I was leading. The house was finally a place of peace. I felt very proud of what I had done. 6 months later, the company had a big gala. It was the biggest party of the year. There were many famous people there. There were politicians and other big bosses. As the senior vice president, I was a host. I wore a beautiful emerald gown. It was long and very elegant. I wore my hair in a nice style. I felt very good in a room full of power. My father was my date. He looked very handsome in his tuxedo. I did not invite Beatrice. I knew she was at home. She was looking at the pictures online. She was very jealous. Mr. Sterling was at the party too. He spent the night telling the story of our dinner. He told everyone how I was calm when Beatrice was mean. She sat there while her stepmother called her a failure, he told the other investors. And then she showed us she was the new SVP. It was the best thing I have seen in 30 years. People laughed. They looked at me with a lot of respect. I was not the quiet girl in the corner anymore. I was the leader. Everyone in the city knew my name now. One morning, Beatrice came to my office. She did not have an appointment. She wore a bright pink suit. It looked out of place in my modern office. She looked very nervous. She stood in the middle of my big room. I was behind my desk. I was looking at new papers. When she saw me, her eyes got very big. She was in shock. She had never seen me like this. She only saw me at home where she could be mean. Now she was in my world. She looked at the expensive art on the walls. She looked at the view of the city. Maya, she whispered. Her voice was shaking. I did not know it was like this. I thought people were lying. I did not say anything for a bit. I let her look around. I wanted her to see my success. I was not the failure she said I was. I was the person who ran this whole building. The dynamic had changed so much. She did not even know how to talk to me. She looked very small standing there. I was the one with the power now. She was just a visitor. Beatrice tried to be her old self. She talked about how we were family. She said Caleb needed help. But her voice was not strong. She looked very small. I walked to the front of my desk. What do you want, Beatrice? I asked. She started talking about Caleb's manager. She said things were not fair. I stopped her. I am helping Caleb, I said. I am giving him a chance to work hard. I will not protect him like you did. In this office, we only care about work. There are no favorites. Beatrice was shocked. You cannot talk to me like that, she said. I looked her in the eyes. I am the senior vice president, Beatrice. In this building, I talk how I want. And now I want you to leave. She realized her power was gone. She was a guest in my world. She had to follow my rules. She left my office. She did not say another word. She never tried to trick me again. I was a woman of integrity. I was a leader. I had turned my bad times into growth. The dynamic was changed forever. I was the quiet storm. I was finally at peace.